Then let's just go ahead and get started here. Let me just open these up. So like I said, I'm going to be sharing in today's presentation how we can help children thrive after divorce. So by the end of this masterclass, you'll learn the fundamentals of a strong co-parenting relationship, as well as the impact of divorce on children across the developmental stage. And I'll also be sharing along the way some actionable tips and things you can do to enhance your children's resilience. So just so you guys know, I'm Dr. Jasmine. I am a licensed clinical psychologist. I also have two little girls, Jayla and Jalea. They are ages 2 and 3. I am an author, a parent educator, and I am in the Northern California region. So I am in the Sacramento area. So I have a large platform on Instagram is where I am largely spend a lot of my time. I'm over there at the Mom Psychologist. So I provide a lot of free resources to parents about positive parenting practices, child development, as well as our own mental health and how we can go about raising anti-racist children, among a lot of other information that I share. I am also the author of The Ultimate Tantrum Guide, Let's Talk Discipline, and then I have a potty training book that came out this month called The First Time Parents Guide to Potty Training, and I also host monthly parenting masterclasses. So that's just a little bit about me, but let's dive into today's presentation. Which is on how to help children thrive after a divorce. And I think one of the main ingredients when we think about helping children emotionally adjust to divorce is having, research has shown us time and time again that the one thing that's the most important is a competent, caring caregiver who provides a lot of warmth and is very responsive to their needs and their cues. That's going to be the biggest buffer against the stress that comes with divorce. Also, research shows us that the first year after divorce is really the hardest. It peaks at the end of year 1 and then it slowly declines. And so most parents report that by the end of year 2 of the divorce, that they're at a level of stability and that they're actually doing as well as they were prior to the divorce. And when we talk about helping our children thrive after divorce, it's imperative, I think, that we first take a step back and consider the ways in which we are or are not thriving ourselves, because research has shown that the adjustment of the parents is a significant factor in children's adjustment as well, because they're looking to us on how to make sense of the divorce, how to make sense of all this change, how they should respond essentially. So it's important that we always consider and be mindful of how we are, how our mental state is. And so when we consider the fundamentals of a strong co-parenting relationship, I think it comes down to 3 main things. Parental involvement. So ideally, not always possible, I realize, but ideally both parents are involved in the children's life, including special events and holidays. Ideally, again, not always possible, but both parents are flexible, they're caring, they consider the other parent's needs, and they try to be flexible and fair and keep the communication open. And they put aside their anger and hostility because they're always keeping in mind the children's best interests. They're a united front ideally, and they maintain consistent rules across households. Also, whether or not your children are dealing with divorce, high conflict between parents is one of the most damaging experiences for children. And so as much as we can foster cooperation, conflict resolution, that's going to really help our children thrive overall. So try to keep the communication between you guys purposeful, right? You guys are on the same page related to your goals for the communication. You're speaking clearly, calmly, you're having regular meetings with each other, ideally monthly, quarterly. If you're not able to meet as regularly, you're celebrating the bond and the fun memories that your child has with the other parent. You're able to, leave some things unsaid for the best interest of your child. You can exercise emotional maturity and problem solve when hurtful things occur. And you create a support system. I think that's a really important aspect to all of this, is that support around this huge change is so important. So you have a good support system around you, family, friends, even a therapist, potentially, who can help give you some support and resources around the relationship, the co-parenting relationship, and just parenting in general, right? Because it is really hard, especially during these times that we are in. So with the monthly meeting, you can talk about, the overall schedule, school activities, teacher meetings, award ceremonies, extracurricular activities. I know things are a little bit different now that we're in COVID, but whatever kind of things are in the schedule, whether that is holidays, vacations, parent travel, or anything else that's coming up in the coming months, it's important to stay on the same page about that. Talk about your child's behavior, their overall school functioning. What are some concerns that have come up when it relates to discipline? What's working, what's not working? Are there parenting resources we can learn together, read together? I always recommend that parents attend my master classes together, so that they can learn and spark a conversation about what they agree with, what they don't agree with, what they want to try, those kinds of things. And, related to school, how are they doing in school? Do they need extra support there? Pertinent life goals, including what's going on in the home, bedtime routine, homework, chores, those kinds of things, internet, screen usage, and that you're discussing the finances related to your children's need during these meetings and keeping up to date with that. And so now I'm going to get into the impact of divorce on children across developmental stages. I'll talk about, what you need to know about the different developmental stages, what to look for, and then of course, actionable tips. So for infants and toddlers, while they can't understand the reasoning behind the conflict, right? They can definitely sense the tension in the home. Themes of separation, predictability, and safety are really important during these times. At around 9 months or so, give or take, children begin to develop separation anxiety because essentially they realize you exist outside of their sight. And so this separation anxiety can be heightened during a divorce, which is important to be mindful of. Also, their concept of future, it's difficult to comprehend, right? So they're going to have a hard time grasping the concept of time, including the future and what may be in the future. So preschoolers, so around age 3 to 5, they tend to be very self-centered. We call it egocentric, me, mine. They believe all things happen because of them, or they tend to believe that, and I'll talk about how that relates to divorce. But around this time too, they have increased ability to imagine things, right? And their ability to differentiate fantasy between reality, it can be hard during these times, and they can develop these fantasies of abandonment, of being unlovable, or even attributing their bad behavior to the divorce, right? Oh my gosh, it was because I didn't listen to mommy that this is all happening. It's because of me, right? They also may cry. They may want more attention than usual. They may be more clingy. They also may show regressive behaviors like more potty accidents or thumb sucking. Those are all signs of stress to be on the lookout for. And they can create incorrect assumptions, which is why communication with our little ones is so important, because since they tend to be more self-focused, they may develop these incorrect assumptions that they have caused the divorce. So some tips for this early stage, 0 to 5, try to stay on a consistent routine and schedule. Children across all ages thrive on a routine and structure, but especially during these times. So as much as possible, try to keep discipline practices consistent, as well as just day-to-day routines, meals, what time they wake, and go to bed, naps, all of that. And of course, we don't have to develop a rigid schedule, but give or take, there are things that they can come to depend on that helps keep them safe and have a sense of safety and predictability. You'll also want to talk about the divorce in concrete ways. So avoid using vague language. If you're going to say the word divorce, make sure they understand what that means. And as much as possible, try to create the different homes to be consistent. So have duplicates of their favorite toys and books, just to help them have some sense of normalcy across the different homes. So some language that you can use to talk to them about divorce is saying things like, we're not happy together, so such and such, either mom or dad is going to move to another house, right? Very concrete language. We're not going to live together anymore. We now live in 2 different homes, but we both love you so much. Or you could say something like, sometimes grown-ups decide to live apart. This is what we have decided works best for our family and has nothing to do with anything you did. That's the critical part, is to consistently send that message. This has nothing to do with you or what you did. We still love you very much, and just to be very concrete with your language. Expect a lot of questions. Expect them to ask you the same questions over and over. It's not because they're trying to be intentionally annoying. It's because they're trying to process the changes. So try to create a safe place for them where they feel comfortable coming to you with questions or whatever's on their mind, right? Because again, you want to be able to debunk any incorrect assumptions that they've come to believe. Also, it's really important to spend one-on-one time with them every single day. Play is really the best way to get into their world and to connect with them. I'm such a big fan of play, and I really believe in the power of it. So as much as possible, daily, even 5-10 minutes, research has shown to be very, very helpful in reducing stress and adding to the connection. Also, you'll want to read books about divorce. I have a couple recommendations, but read books about divorce to help spark conversation, help educate them, help normalize this, right? That they're not the only ones going through this. So there's books like Two Homes, Living with Mom and Living with Dad, Why Do Families Change? There's Dinosaurs Divorce, The Invisible String, Standing on My Own 2 Feet. All of these are available on Amazon or other bookstores. So read books about divorce. That can be incredibly powerful, especially during this age. For school-age children, so we're thinking like, 5, 6, up to 11, they may feel like the parents are divorcing them, right? They may worry that they're going to lose the parent that either, leaves the home or they have less contact with. They may blame one parent for the separation and then align themselves with the quote-unquote good parent. And they also tend to have a lot of fantasies about rescuing their parents' marriage, right? Saving their parents' marriage, ultimately getting you guys back together. So be aware of that as well. So some tips, again, you're going to want to maintain consistent visitation schedules as much as possible because, of course, children thrive on routines and predictability. Regularly reassure them, right? No parent, as long as this is true, but no parent will be abandoning them. The divorce was not their fault. And let them know what life is going to look like moving forward. Also, increasingly as children age, they're more and more interested in their friends, school, and extracurricular activities. So this is really important to them. So you want to encourage them to engage in things, stay connected with their friends, even if it's over Zoom or Skype right now, or do extracurricular activities that they enjoy and that will increase their self-esteem. For teens, they're more likely to pull away during this time, actually. And in general, whether or not teens are going through a divorce, they're more interested in seeking out their peers for support than parents, and that is developmentally appropriate. And they understand at this point the finality of the divorce, but that may come with some extra behavioral issues. It may manifest in more anger about the divorce and about all the changes that have happened in their life, right? They may blame one parent for all of the big changes, the upheaval in the family. So you'll want to spend time discussing with them future. They're very interested in that, right? College, upcoming plans, summer plans, extracurricular activities. You're going to want to keep that communication open with them. Ideally, both parents are participating in these events with them. Validate their feelings of anger. I think that's the most powerful thing we can do with our children when they express anger towards us, although it's hard to sit with and hard to witness. But as much as we can acknowledge and validate their feelings, the better they're going to be able to process what's going on and also connect with us, right? Feel like we get it. We are a safe place for them to come to. Also, counseling can be a wonderful resource for all children, but especially teens, to have somebody safe they feel comfortable coming to, where they can openly express their feelings about the divorce that they may not feel comfortable expressing to you all the way. They can learn more coping skills and just overall help them adjust to the changes. So I want to leave on this point that, you know, although parenting while divorced may require additional education, some extra mindfulness of our children and their well-being, it is possible to raise happy, resilient children. And in fact, research has shown that 80% of children of divorce adapt well, and they see no long-lasting negative effects on their grades, their social adjustment, or their mental health. So in summary, you know, try to stay mindful of your child's developmental stage, what they might be going through at that time. Keep open communication with them as well as your co-parent. Focus on enhancing the relationship. Remember, because that is the most important part, is having a safe person they can come to. So focus on lots of play, lots of connection to buffer against the stress, and don't hesitate to reach out to a child or family therapist during this time to get additional support and resources. And that is it for my presentation. Thank you guys for attending this presentation. If you want to stay connected with me, I am the Mom Psychologist across all platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. My website is called themomspsychologist.com, and you can email me at hello@themomspsychologist.com. So thank you guys for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day.